you ain't with it, then get up the block. Crack your fucking head, leave a husky knot. We ain't all about love, nigga. You looking at ex-gang members, ex-convicts, and ex-drug dealers. Everything is a balance with us. When the teacher speaking, it's a silence with us. Cause we real soldiers for your Howard Shah. Other false gods don't want no challenge with us. Islam and Christianity is the biggest drug.
First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Christ. Yo, guy with that flag right there. Yo, sir. What kind of flag is that, man? It's what again? Jerusalem. Let's talk real quick. Because I'm per se on Jerusalem's side technically, but let me show you something though. Yeah, let's talk real quick. Are you Jewish, sir? You're Christian, but you're not Jewish though, right?
Depends what you mean by Jew.
Come closer. I can barely hear you. This is what we're out here for, man. This is what we're out here talking about. So you said you're a Christian, but you're not a Jew.
I'm not a Jew.
You said you are a Jew?
It depends what you mean by Jew.
Do you descend from the 12 tribes of Israel? Do you descend from the man Jacob?
Israel is not a nation.
Are you sure?
Yes, but the Bible says Israel is not a nation.
Was it not a people before it was established as a place? Were they not known as the 12 tribes of Israel? All praise, man. You got your Bible on you? Is that what you got?
You get a Bible there, that'll do.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's talk, man. Let's see what you got, man.
I don't want to get this on the ground. It'll get dirty.
No worries, man. Yeah. We're gonna save that one. Exactly. Come on, let's save that one.
Start at Numbers 23, verse 9.
Psalms. Here, go ahead. Here. Do you want to read it?
No, you
Okay, here. You said what again? Read this for this guy.
Numbers 23, verse 9.
Numbers?
Yeah, we got it.
23
You said
and
what
9.
verse again?
Verse 9.
Verse 9?
Numbers, you said? You said 23 and 9?
Numbers 23 and 9. Let's go there. Let's see what he's talking about.
Israel is a church.
Here, go ahead. Read that. Let's read it. Let's see what he's talking about. And then I got a verse for you, and I want you to explain to me what it means. All right?
Oh yeah, that is way off. Numbers chapter 23 verse 9. For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. Lo, the people shall dwell alone, and shall not be reckoned among the nations.
But are you saying that they're not a nation no more?
Not from North Sinai. Before, I got it explained in my tract.
Okay, and that paper's from that's your personal information that you're providing. Okay, cool. Let me show you a verse real fast.
Trash.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
Right here it's talking about the commandments, right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Which shall hear all these. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
In the sight of the other nations, right? Go ahead.
Which shall hear all these statutes.
So all these other people are going to see us doing these commandments and what?
And say, surely, this great nation.
This great what?
This great nation is a wise and understanding people.
They just called us a nation, though.
That's outsiders saying it. Outsiders don't understand.
That's what again?
Outsiders.
Outsiders? What are you talking about? This is right here. Moses telling his people that though.
No, the nation will say that the nations will say this is a great nation.
So it's not a nation though.
No.
Even though other nations are going to call us this great nation.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's by mistake. It's by mistake.
What you got?
Exodus chapter 19 verse 6. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation.
Right, I know about that, and that's one thing I don't understand. Okay?
Because we were considered a nation before we were ever a place. Because we're a people.
I don't think this is much to do in a place either.
Okay, yeah, because it's symbolizing a people. That's why I'm asking you.
A church.
Okay, yeah. It was a church. Where in the wilderness when we came out of Exodus, right?
No, a nation. We went out of Egypt and became a great nation.
Exactly.
When we came out of Egypt and went through Sinai, we were denationalized and became a third church.
When exactly did it happen though? When did it say, okay, Israel is no longer a people, is no longer a nation?
Number 23:9.
But we just read that though. That wasn't talking about that.
Number 23, right? Number 23, verse 9.
Read it again. Read it again. Let's read it again. I don't want you to explain it to me. We're gonna read it and then you'll explain it to me as it's going. All right?
Numbers chapter 23, verse 9. For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him.
Who's the him?
Lo, the people shall dwell alone, and shall not be reckoned among the nations. Verse 10. Who can count the dust of Jacob, and the number of the fourth part of Israel? Let me die the death of the righteous, and let my last end be like his.
There's one in Jeremiah. Exactly, bro. Okay, so what was that talking about there?
He's saying, this is Balaam speaking, and he's saying, this people is not a nation. It's something special. Much more important than any nation. The church.
What is it? So where it says, and not be reckoned among the nations, what is that meaning?
What it actually says in the Hebrew is lo hitachtiv b'goyim.
Let's look at what it actually says in the Hebrew.
It does not think itself among the nations.
Okay, so does that mean it's not a nation though?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So it's no longer a nation. I'm gonna show you something in Jeremiah that is saying that nation is not, every nation is still in existence today. It stops being a people. It never stops being a people, right? You got that? 35. Yep. Go ahead.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 35. Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night.
Right, so the stars, the moon, and everything are existing, right? Go ahead.
Which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. Verse 36. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord.
If the moon and the stars and the sun and everything stops from existing,
then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation.
From being a what?
From being a nation.
So do you look up and see that? Hold on. We can go into the Hebrew as well. We'll get that. Do you mind pulling that up? Jeremiah 31 and what? And 36 in the Hebrew. Let's see what that says. But from what it's saying right there, do you see the sun right now?
I can see it.
Can you see the stars at night? Can you see the moon at night?
If the lights and if the local street lights aren't being
Okay, perfect. Read 36 again.
If those ordinances depart from before me,
which they haven't,
saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever.
So if they're still here, then Israel is still a nation, right? That's what God said, at least. Not what Balaam said, but this is what God said, though. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what. So it goes back to my. Let's see what it says in the Hebrew.
You want the word for nation?
Let's see.
Or just read it?
Here, put the coordinates on there, and have him give it to him. Read that in Hebrew. I want to see what it says. That top part right there.
האלה מלפני נאום יהוה גם זרע ישראל ישפטו משקיות. Yeah, that's a nation there. Okay.
So is Israel still a nation or is it not a nation?
Just give me two
Perfect.
things I don't understand.
Perfect.
Now, if you read through that, you might find some places. Did you read the Hebrew?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this is what we were going into. So it goes all back to my first question, right? So you're out here siding with Israel, right? Is that what you're doing out here?
What I'm doing here, I was here for the anti-Zionist demonstration.
Okay. Understanding, what is your position? What is your belief on what's going on right now in Israel?
Israel is a church.
Uh-huh.
You're Israel being a land.
Uh-huh.
But it's Canaan.
Okay. Here, let me ask you a better question. So this is kind of where I want to get to going. That place over there, then, that land, who does that belong to? Would that be the Israelites, or would that be the so-called Palestinians, what they're out here protesting about? Who does that land belong to?
Palestinians were the first Jewish nation.
They were the first Jewish nation, the Palestinians?
Yes.
Here, give me Genesis 10, and I think it's
They became one of the first Christian nations. And that is what Zionism is about.
okay, cool.
The punishment.
Hold on, who's being punished?
Palestinians.
Why?
Because they became Christians.
Who punished them?
Zionists.
The Jewish people, right? The state of Israel? The Jewish people, right? Those are Zionists, right?
No, the Jews. Some Jews.
Benjamin Netanyahu, is he a Zionist?
Netanyahu, yes.
His people. And in the military, are they Zionists?
Yeah.
The military of Israel is Zionist, right?
The military of the Israeli state.
Yeah.
Be careful how you deal with Israel.
I don't believe there is. I don't believe those are Israelites over there. I don't
Here,
believe
get
Benjamin Netanyahu
Ezekiel
is
7 and 24. What?
I want to get to the Bible. What you said. You said they got punished because they became Christian.
That is what the Zionists are doing.
So are the Zionists Christian?
No.
What are they?
They're rabbinical Jews.
Rabbinical Jews.
Not very good practicing ones.
I believe that. They have homosexual parades there as well. You believe in that? Okay, great. At least you're smart about that. So they believe in what? They don't believe. They believe.
They have all the things of the West.
What's that?
They have all the things of the West.
Okay. So is it because they believe in Jesus or what? Palestinians. They became Christians. That's what a Christian is, right? A follower of Jesus Christ.
By the year 200.
It's a very small population of Christian Palestinians.
Now, 12% of the last census.
The what?
12% of the last census.
The last census.
1930.
That's it. 12%. That's pretty small.
That's pretty small now, but when the Zionists got the idea, way back when, they were, or when the roots of Zionism, it was much more. The Palestinians were majority Christian from the year 200, and for 1,000 years they remained majority Christian.
Who?
The Palestinians.
1,000 years what?
They remained majority Christian for 1,000 years.
Wait a minute. Are you sure?
Yes,
They haven't been in that land for 1,000 years.
yes they are.
Wait a minute. The Israelis haven't even been there for 1,000 years.
Israelis have Europe.
Exactly. So the but here's the thing. Those are Arabs over there, right? The guys that stripped the Palestinians, are those Arabs?
They are remnants of the Arab Empire.
The Arab Empire. They're Arabs though, right? Oh, for the most part.
Arabic is a racial term.
But so who are they? Are they the original biblical Palestinians over there? Who's right there right now?
There's been immigration.
So you believe those people that are being afflicted by the Zionists, those are the biblical Palestinians?
Yes.
The Philistines, right? Those are the Philistines?
I'm a Canaanite, I'm a Hivite, I'm a Hittite, and all those other guys.
I don't believe in that, because you know why? You're familiar with the Bible. Yeah, how old are you? I don't want to ask too many questions, but you seem a little more familiar with the Bible than most. So I'm going to tell you this. Those Palestinians over there are not the real Palestinians. Right. Those are not Hittites. Those aren't Jebusites. Those aren't the biblical. Those are Hamites that you're talking about. Africans. Those aren't Africans. Give me that in Genesis 10, and you give me that in Zechariah 9. Let's read about that.
You think all the Hamites are black?
I believe the biblical Hamites are Africans. Yes, black people, melanated people.
That would say that Egypt is called Hamitic.
Well, those aren't the original Egyptians over there either. You know those are Arabs. You know that.
They were conquered by the Arabians.
Exactly. So where are
They started speaking Arabic and getting their own language.
But because those are Arabs. The original Egyptians got moved south to Sudan.
Not entirely, because there's a Christian community in Egypt.
That's not a problem. Christianity's worldwide.
Yes, right.
Absolutely. You're talking about the Egyptian Coptic Church. We're not talking about religion right now. We're talking about ethnic lines.
racial lines that are in the Bible. We're asking you because those people in Israel today, I mean, that call themselves Palestinians, aren't the Philistines. They call themselves Palestine. Why? Because the Roman Emperor Hadrian, out of spite to the real Jews, named that land after their ancient enemy, the Philistines. So no, Hadrian renamed that land after the last expulsion of the Jews. How? Watch this. Watch it. Hold it. I'm gonna pull it up.
Give me Zechariah 9 first, because he knows a little bit about that. But we gonna prove you believe in the Bible, right? The Old Testament.
Yeah.
You don't believe in the New Testament, right?
I do.
You do? You believe in Jesus?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you believe in prophecy, right? There's prophecy that came to pass in the Bible over time. There's still prophecy to come. There's still prophecies that hasn't occurred. You believe in that?
I suppose so.
Okay. Well, let me see if you know about this, because this talks about the exact land that you're referencing, Gaza, the quote-unquote Palestinians and the Zionists per se. Read this. Saw that one.
Zechariah chapter 9 verse 1 through 6. The burden of the word of the Lord in the land of Hadrach and Damascus shall be the rest thereof.
Where's Damascus?
Syria nowadays.
You're right above Israel, right? Go ahead.
When the eyes of man, as of all the tribes of Israel, shall be toward the Lord, and Hamath also shall border thereby.
Where's Hamath?
Amman?
Hamath. Hamath.
I don't know.
It's talking about Hamite. Read.
Tyrus and Zidon.
Who's Tyrus and Zidon?
Tyre and Sidon are two cities in Lebanon.
Above Israel, right? Hamite. These are Hamite lands, though, right?
Not
These are sons of Ham. Tyre and Zidon. These are sons of Ham. Africans.
I wouldn't say. I don't think that the Hebrew Table of Nations is, what's the word, racially accurate.
What do you mean? Genesis 10 isn't accurate?
The Table of Nations in Genesis is what you're thinking
Genesis 10, that's what we're referencing, yes.
Yeah, and that Table of Nations gives the relationship of various nations to the Israelites. And
well, no, it's not necessarily a relation. It's just about their lineage. That's what we're talking about, lineage, though. It's not relating to the Israelites. It's just talking about who was born from who and what their names are. And there's obviously biblical names and lands that these people occupy.
Yeah, I believe the Bible, but I don't think that part is historically.
So what's inaccurate about it before we continue? What's inaccurate about the Table of Nations in Genesis?
Well, this Ham, you say,
Ham will be considered the Africans today, yes.
Right. That's what you would say, but there are lots of other. I mean, that is not the way. The philologists use the word Hamitic.
Who?
Philologists.
Theologians?
Philologists.
Who are they? What are you talking about?
People who study languages.
Oh, well, I mean, languages change. People. We talked to an Ethiopian last week that speaks a Shemitic language, but Ethiopians are who? The Cushites, right? The Babylonians. Those are Hamites. But they speak a Shemitic language. But they're Hamitic though. So that's not necessarily about the language per se. It's about who was in that land at the time of the biblical narrative was being written. And obviously people, like you said, migrated, immigrated, things like that. That's what we're referencing.
You've got my tract. You can email me, and my email address is on it.
You from San Francisco?
No.
Where are you from?
Oakland.
You're out here every now and then or what?
Occasionally.
Okay, I appreciate the dialogue. Let's read this real quick for you about the history information.
Okay, so in 135 AD, the Greek Syria Palestina was used in naming the new Roman province in a merger of Roman Syria and Roman Judea, and the Roman authorities crushed the Bar Kokhba revolt, right? So the circumstantial evidence links Hadrian to the renaming of the province to Palestine. So that's what I was touching. That's what I was touching on earlier. Huh?
There's a history of Palestine by a man called Mathala, which claims it's older than that.
The actual renaming of that land to Palestine?
Not the renaming. He claims the name is quite old, and the Romans and the Greeks used the name Palestine.
Well, of course, but the reason why, because Hadrian renamed that land out of spite, because this is right after he crushed the last revolt of the Bar Kokhba revolt, the very last expulsion of the last Jews, right? Around 100, 135, 150, right? So out of spite, he renamed that land after the name of their ancient enemies, the Philistines.
That's an interesting thought, but I don't think you've got it right. Anyway, I've got to get.
It's about research. Give me that. Let me read this to you real quick and prove that those ancient Philistines got ran out. I got 2 verses for you real quick if you got a little bit of time. Read this.
Verse 2, or verse 6, just go to verse 6.
Go to 5.
Verse 5, Ashkelon shall see it and fear. Gaza also shall see
Start
it.
at, start at 4.
Verse 4, behold, Zechariah 9 and 4, behold, the Lord will cast her out, and he will smite her power in the sea, and she shall be devoured with fire.
Yep.
Ashkelon shall see it and fear.
Read.
Gaza also shall see it.
Gaza's going to see this destruction. Read.
And be very sorrowful.
Very sorrowful. Go ahead.
And Ekron. For her expectation shall be ashamed.
Read.
And the king shall perish from Gaza.
What?
And the king shall perish from Gaza.
Read.
And Ashkelon shall not be inhabited.
These are all lands around Israel, right?
Ashkelon is an Israeli city called Ashkelon.
Exactly. These are all.
I think it's built on top of a Palestinian village whose name I forget.
He's right. So I'm saying though, this is all around that area, the Holy Land, right?
The southwest of the Holy Land.
But this is the prophecy. Do you know what happened right here? Do you know what this is a historical? It's already happened, obviously, after this prophecy was written. Zechariah lived 508 or 500 BC or whatever. But do you know the historical prophecy?
I don't want to be in the dark.
This is talking about when Alexander came and conquered them. Alexander the Greek. This is a prophecy about Alexander conquering Gaza. What's that? It's called the siege of Gaza, right? Where they had that port by the sea, that high wall by the sea, and Alexander built a bridge and conquered it over time. You heard about that? What was that? Yeah, exactly. That's talking about Alexander the Greek. That's where he lived, right? Alexander. That's what happened. He took him down. So that's how you know the Palestinians don't belong there, because those are the real Palestinians. So they got destroyed back in the day. Give me Revelation. Read. This is for you, old man. Read.
Revelation chapter 2 verse 9. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty.
Talking about the real Jews, the black, Hispanic, Native Americans, the Israelites. Read.
But thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews.
Says they're Jews, says they're Israeli, says they belong in that land. They're liars. Read.
And are not.
That guy's not. He had a Jewish flag. He was probably scared to rock the lily per se. I got the lily on my shirt and my hat. I don't care about these Palestinians. These fake Palestinians. Read.
But are the synagogue of Satan.
Old man, you're the synagogue of Satan, man. But I appreciate the dialogue. You knew a little bit more than I thought.
Right.
But you're still going into slavery. You're still getting bound by the neck. You know. And eventually you're gonna perish from the earth, man.
Right.
As it is written. That's exactly what's gonna happen.